Okay, everyone, you are in for a treat with this week's podcast because I've already heard it before. All right, Alexandra and I have recorded this once before, except we didn't record it. It was like podcast gold, and of course, it will never be heard again from anyone, right, Alexandra?
Right. But, it was good practice.
It
I'll say
was.
that.
I don't need any practice. I don't need any practice. I've
Maybe I
nailed.
do.
Yeah, okay. We'll blame it on you. We'll blame it. Okay, so everybody, welcome. You have to welcome this week Alexandra Alvarado. She is the director of marketing, I think is one of the titles
Yes.
anywhere, over at the American Apartment Owners Association. And Alexandra, the reason why you're here is because once again, you did it right and you bestowed upon me in my book, How to Own 1,000 Apartments in 5 Years, the title of Best Real Estate Book in 2023. And I greatly appreciate that. And by the way, I've already started my next book. It's How I Turned $50,000 into $50 million in 5 years. And I just have to wait 5 years to put it all together. So that's talking about setting a goal. But that's exactly what I'm going to do. And you can give me an award for that then.
I certainly will. I mean, that was a great, well-deserved award.
Yeah.
We always look out for books that are really, really eye-catching, impactful, a little different. I think you definitely hit all those marks, and that's from, our Rent Magazine Awards. So you're always happy to find new connections and give out awards to people who deserve it. So it was perfect.
And let me, this is the second award. Last one I got was the podcast of the year, which I absolutely, that tickled my fancy, and I was so happy to get that. Greatly appreciate it. But let's talk about rent.com or rent magazine, or how do we get a hold of it? Because this, folks, for you, those of you listening, you got to sign up at American Apartment Association, Owners Association, .org, because the stuff that they produce, the stuff that they put out there is great stuff. And especially this Rent magazine. It is an online magazine, and it's got, I'll tell you, one of the best things that you guys have on there are the vendors, the ads. I mean, I learn stuff from what everyone else is doing in this business just by checking out your ads on your magazine. So, I mean, how do people sign up for that?
Yeah, so it's actually available publicly. So if you just go to AAOA.com and you click on magazine in the top menu, it'll take you straight to all of our digital issues. And if you want to stay in the know of when we do put out an issue, you'll get an email notification, and then you can just join the association for free. So if you click join on the upper right corner, it'll take you to a few different membership options. You just have to be a free member to get that notification. We send out, every quarter, the digital magazine, and we work really hard on it with a lot of great experts like you. And we put out some really good content, I think. I'm glad you found it useful as well, because that's always the goal, right? Like, we want people to feel like, this is really helpful.
Exactly. It's got a great stickiness to it, because I kept going back to it and finding new stuff that was fantastic. So, all right, tell me about American Apartment Owners Association.
Yeah.
How did you guys get started? Where are you located? What's your purpose? Because, and then we're going to talk about Alan and his background, because he's kind of a neat guy himself.
He is. Yeah, well, AAOA started in 2004, and so it's been almost 20 years now. It'll be our 20-year anniversary in about a month here. So, really started as a way for landlords and property managers to gain some tools to help them kind of DIY. Oh, what is that?
That's a tie that I own that's at least 20 years old.
Oh, there you go.
So that's so sad. That's so sad.
Aged like a fine wine, that tie.
Oh, not that one. Not that one. No, not that one.
Yeah. I mean, 20 years is a long time. So
yeah, it is. Yeah, I know.
I started working at AAOA almost 10 years ago. So Yeah, so I've been with the company for a while. Definitely has grown a ton.
And for those of you that didn't read her bio in the notes or anything, Alexandra apologetically couldn't get into Boston College. So she ended up at Pepperdine, as we say here on my podcast. If you can't get into Boston College, nothing else matters. Okay, but you ended up at Pepperdine, but you did Pepperdine, and which is a gorgeous school, and then got your master's there, MBA there as well,
Yes, I
and then
did.
went to work for no, you had a couple of stops along the way, didn't you?
Yeah, no. I first worked for a company in, believe it or not, it was the first online traffic school in the country. And they started online traffic school. So you have them to thank for not having to go to class in person anymore. But they
Oh,
started that.
I've had to go to bad boy school a couple times, and
Yeah,
they
me
made me.
too.
Yeah, they used up a whole Saturday of mine a couple times. Yeah. Yep.
Well, online is definitely faster.
Yep.
I basically started working there and expanding the business into some other states. Worked with that for a while, just a couple years straight out of college, and then they ended up merging with one of our competitors, and so I was given the option to move to Florida, of which I said absolutely not. No offense to anyone in Florida, but I'm a
Geez.
California girl. So
Yeah, I know.
fortunately, I found
You are not a
AAOA.
California girl. You're a Costa Rican girl. As
I
you can
am
tell.
originally, of
Yes.
course. That first of all. But I was lucky enough to find AAOA and work for them and really help them to grow. That was always the beginning goal, is like, how do we get more members to know about us? And we have really awesome tenant screening. That's like the number one sort of thing people find us for, is like, oh shoot, I have a vacancy, let me get a really good credit and background check. That's where we come in.
Oh, okay.
But at that point, it was like, okay, what else can we offer?
Yeah.
So over time, we've become, a lot of different things, adding so many different services. And then where we don't offer the service, like you said, we're really good at referring out really awesome companies that do really well with, some of these really crucial services like insurance, right? We're not an insurance company, but we work with a really great one. And we're not a 1031 exchange company, but I can refer you to the best ones in the industry. So that's kind of what we've become more now, is like a resource hub for
Yeah.
people to do all the things, And most recently with Alan, you mentioned him, really taking care of like our brokerage. And now we also are in the business of buying and selling properties and helping our members do it as well. So that is really exciting. I think it really closed the loop, right? We were so into like management, and now it's like, let's help you grow your portfolio too. So
Okay.
it's
That's
amazing.
really cool. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because and we're going to walk through that right here online so that everybody can know how to do it. One of the things that we talked about um, yeah, I know, was the portfolio, or not portfolio, but where you can go to find properties. Is that in the AAOA.com website?
Yes, it
Okay.
is. So right at the top of the menu, we have a real estate tab there. So you can go to check out the member featured properties. So those are investment properties our members are selling. If you are interested in any, you can mark off the ones you're interested in. You'll likely hear from Alan if you're interested, and
Oh,
he'll
really?
connect you. Yeah.
Oh,
And
cool.
then if you are looking to sell a property, that's another great way to get exposure. A lot of the properties on there, to be honest, our members will put up first with us, like off market, just
Yeah.
because, we have a great network. And so we'll blast it out to our members and tell them about it. So really facilitating these like great deals where I think, you're not going to see some of these on just like, the open market right away. So really, really exciting development that Alan worked on very hard and he still maintains,
Yeah.
So
I'm looking at it right now.
mhm,
And folks,
mhm.
you've got to check this out. You go up to the top, it says real estate, and it says available properties. But once you go through it, you got a 19 unit in Daytona Beach. You got an 11 unit in Lebanon, Oregon. You got a 52 unit in California, Tallahassee, um, Hartford, Connecticut. I have students that are looking for stuff in Hartford, and then Middletown, Connecticut. They're They have stuff, Clarksville, Tennessee. How many of my students have been looking in Tennessee for the longest time? And I agree with you. If I was selling a property, I'd throw it up in Pontiac first. I don't have to pay a broker commission, and I know that I'm dealing between a seller, an owner operator, and myself. And we know how to talk the lingo. So, folks, you've got to add this as a favorite on your websites for if you go into LoopNet and CoStar and Crexy, blah blah blah. Everybody is also. But if you go to AAOA.com, you should be checking these things out all the time. I mean, I don't know what it is. You got a lot of Connecticut ones on here. I mean, who's that guy? Is that one guy?
It is.
It is. I knew it. I didn't know. I wonder if I know him.
It's interesting because people sell for different reasons, right? And certainly, some of them are ready to retire. That's usually a common one. But I think
is he checking out?
I think you can get lucky with some of those too, where their motivations can be a good reason to maybe get a good deal. Certainly, look on there. We also have a great network of agents too. So something that Alan did was really partner with some of the best agents really everywhere. We have all 50 states covered. So if you are looking for an agent you want to work with in your area, they probably have more properties too. We could refer you to that. So with that, if you use any of our agents in our network, we will also provide you with free marketing for your listings if you are selling. So that's a great option as well. I mean, there's so many things that are free. I can't even,
This is great. You guys have a fantastic website. All the forms too. Great forms. We're going to talk about the forms just a moment.
Yeah.
I get calls from everybody. Hey, do you have a form that I can use for this? And of course, as a lawyer, I'm not going to give you out any forms because you're going to think, that I'm advising you on it, and I'm not. So, but you can go to AAOA.com and they have all the forms online. But I tell you what, let's merge our two practices together here, Alexandra. So, if you've read my book, How to Own 1,000 Apartments in 5 Years, the first step is to just buy 20 units in the first year. Okay, let me tell you, all of you listening here, here's how you can do it. You go to AAOA.com, you click on the real estate, you click on available properties, and right there at the top, and you better move fast because as soon as I open my mouth, this thing's going to be gone. You click on Daytona Beach, 19 units, 2.25 million, 5 value add opportunities, which probably means there are 5 units that are still need to be renovated and here's the kicker: assumable debt at 3.89% interest rate. Bam. I don't want to hear any more out of you. Go grab that property. That property's a steal. Daytona Beach, you can't go wrong. And and guys, it's a nice looking property. It's in the historic district. It's a beautiful property. Look at you shaking your head like you know exactly what this property is.
I've seen it. I always look at what's being posted because we also put it in our newsletter. So we'll pick a property to feature in the newsletter. That one was a recent one. We feature the ones that we especially think are good deals. We put them in our magazine too. So I think really, it's interesting because there are some that I see that I'm like, wow, this is, and they go pretty quickly, like you said, even in this market when they are good deals. Certainly a good deal is a good deal. So
that one, because you think it's 19 unit and it's got assumable debt. Usually a 19 unit, you're thinking it's like a local lender that's provided the financing, but it's 2.25 million. So, it might be one of those smaller GSE type of products that's offering non-recourse assumable debt. That I'm guessing at the non-recourse. So you'd have to check into that. But folks, I just found a deal I would go after tomorrow. I wasn't buying a hotel tomorrow. So which we're going to talk about later on. I can't wait to get on and talk about that. Okay, so you're a nice girl. You go to college. You end up working for a trucking company. That's what I'm going to describe it.
Trucking. Online traffic course. School?
I call it a CDL training course. I'm just kidding. But now you end up with this guy. Alan. Now you got to tell me about Alan because what's his role? Like, are you guys owned somehow? You have a board of directors. You're a not for profit, an association. How are you guys set up, and what is Alan's role?
Yeah, so we are for profit. That is a owner of the company. We have our vice president. Alan is basically working with the real estate properties. So he is the property side of things. He's our also serial networker on LinkedIn. So he also makes the connections that I think really help to support all of the services that we're offering because we're able to find these amazing experts right now. He is also doubling as our event planner because he is going to be lead on planning our live event in October, which is going to be
cool.
in Los Angeles. This is the first time I'm announcing it, actually. So
Oh,
your
neat.
audience
Very
is hearing
cool.
this
We
first. No
have a
one knows
scoop.
about this. No one knows
We
about
have
this
a
yet.
scoop here on the Multifamily Investing Academy podcast. I love it. I love it.
Yes, yeah. So you heard it here first. We are very excited. Still in early planning stages, but he does have experience in the event space and hospitality. So he's taking the lead on it. I'm handling a lot of the marketing for it at the point where we have more going on. I'm already so excited. I want to talk about it, but I don't have that many details to share yet. Join the association. I promise you will get an invite, and
cool.
if you're in Long Beach, well, Long Beach is where it is, but if you're in anywhere in Southern California, a lot of the topics will be California, specific evictions, collections. Those are huge. Rent control. All these are huge issues we're going to be talking about. And then we'll also have, some more practical stuff about investing and tax and all that too. So really excited for this event. I think it's going to be fantastic. And just join in and you'll get an invite. So hopefully some of your listeners can make it in October.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fun. I love those live events. They're always great. We're doing one in June. That's kind of like my first announcement. So I do it for my students of Mastermind, but this time we're also doing a hotel to apartment and my Multifamily OS. So it's going to be a very good event. So I'll get that one out there.
Where's that going to be? Maybe we'll go.
Yeah, that's going to be in Florida, right near your Daytona property, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
But I think we're going to be on the Tampa side this year. I think we're going to be over in the Tampa side. So that's and the way that David and I teach, we're like college professors. So we like to speak at universities where they have those amphitheater type rooms where we stand down and we like Professor Hausman from the Paper Chase. Way before your time, Alexandra. I know. Even when you started in 2004, it was way before your time. Okay, yeah. Well, it kind of inspired me to go to law school. That. I'll put it to you that way. Okay.
Very cool.
Oh, wait a minute. You kind of glossed over something, which we're going to go back to, and I want you talked about Alan and his training or experience in hospitality. What is that all about? Give us the TMZ version of Alan, would you please?
You'd have to ask him. Maybe you should have him as your guest, because to be honest, I don't know the whole backstory. Other than I know at some point he did work he worked with the Four Seasons corporate. So that is as much as I know, because I remember saying, "Wow, did you get to go to Four Seasons for free? I would take that job."
Yeah, why wouldn't you? All right, well, let's talk about you because you have an interesting pedigree as well. So you're you're from Costa Rica. You were born and raised in Costa Rica. Well, not really raised. You came up here.
Raised here, yeah.
Oh, raised here. Okay. All right. So you had moved up here. So when you went to college, you were a typical California student.
Yeah.
Okay. So it wasn't like you got some great
first person in my family to graduate college in the U.S. Most of my family still lives in Costa Rica, so I have a couple of others that have moved, but people love Costa Rica. They don't leave. Costa Ricans don't like to leave, my parents were sort of the anomalies. I have to ask them why they did it, but now they went back to living half here, half there. So
they did.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did they do when they were here in the States?
Yeah, so actually, my mom started off as a substitute teacher, and then
Okay.
she got into real estate. She got her agent's license, so she's been selling real estate now for about 15 years. And my dad, he became an appraiser pretty early on. And that he loves it. He's residential though. So,
Okay.
they're both in the residential space. They also have some investment properties here and in Costa Rica, a lot of investing there. And they now are, since they're working half and half, they help investors here in the States invest in Costa Rica. So that's kind of where they've pivoted to lately. And it's really crazy, the interest in investing in Costa Rica right now. It's
Yeah.
blowing up. I mean, it's insane what's going on.
Yeah. Joe
Yeah.
Sidoti, Joe Sidoti was a partner of mine, and she's living in Puerto Rico right now, and from
Mm.
Southern California, Temecula. She got out of Temecula and moved her whole family to Puerto Rico. But she was so well versed in knowing like where the best places to live outside of the United States. And so I told her, I said, I want to get out of here. I want to go live someplace else. And she said, Costa Rica. Costa Rica.
Hmm.
I said, why? I've already done the research. Costa Rica is the best place. And of course, the cost of living, but also the Americanization for good reasons of Costa Rica. Like you guys have like an American hospital down there that accepts Medicare. So if you're over
Yep.
65, you can stay down there and you don't have to come home for your health care. Your Medicare payments will go right through, which is amazing. That doesn't happen everywhere else.
Right.
And but also I talked to you last time and I said, if I wanted a place that was like this, how much would it cost me? And the number you told me, I was like ready to write the check. I was like, let's get out of here. Let's go do this.
Yeah.
But
I mean, relative to what costs are in the States, it's obviously lower. It's still not as dirt cheap as you might get in some other places, but with the benefit of having, as you said, some of those American quality of life aspects,
yeah,
safety, and really
yeah,
having a beautiful paradise to live in. And it's still, I think they've done a good job of adding some of the comforts that we have here in the States without sacrificing a lot of the culture either. So you don't
yeah,
feel like, I don't know, when I go to Cabo or Cancun, I do feel like that's very Americanized, right?
yeah, yeah.
But when you go to Costa Rica, it certainly doesn't feel that way. But you still have the little luxuries that, you might experience here and enjoy. And it's just really, I mean, the pura vida lifestyle, just come out and chill, is very attractive, especially for people
You,
retiring. But even me, I go over there and I'm like, oh, I need to relax more. My family's like, what happened to you?
yeah, I was gonna say, well, California will do that to you. But what about the language? I mean,
um, Almost everyone speaks English. So in school, they start teaching English in kindergarten. So they are required to learn English now. And maybe the older generation, not so much, but anyone under the age of 50 knows English. So it's really not a huge issue. And
well,
you'll get around fine. I mean,
I
people
don't.
ask me sometimes, can I rent a car? Can I, yeah, go ahead. That's like a place where
Yeah.
you can totally do that and feel pretty comfortable.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but English is my first language.
No, I didn't
Yeah.
think it
Yeah. No.
was.
Yeah. No. Everybody asks, where were you born? Where were you born? English. Yeah. So, all right. Uh, you moved up here. Now you were working for American Apartment Owners Association. Tell us some of the inside dirt. What do you see in our industry? What are some of the things
Yeah.
that are coming up?
Yeah, one of the things that I get to do is really stay on top of a lot of the industry trends and regulations because we have to inform our members. That is one of the benefits of being a member. Certainly, there is a huge push right now towards tenant-friendly laws. We're seeing trending all over the place.
Yeah.
Specifically, right now, pets is a big one. So there was on a federal level, there last year proposed the Pets Belong with Families Act. Although it didn't
Oh,
go through, it really did start to kind of make the conversation of, should landlords have to accept pets no matter what? So first it was emotional support animals, right? Where, okay, you need a letter and it needs to come from your doctor. Now it's just all pets. And then it's, okay, well, if it's not all pets, then how about like no breed restrictions, no size restrictions? And so no number restrictions, even the number of pets or the type of even species. Now all these things are coming into play. And unfortunately, this puts landlords in a very difficult position. California is trying to push right now for all pets are allowed. And if that passes, what we're probably going to see is a hike in insurance for California landlords across the board. We're already seeing an insurance crisis. That's another big topic right now. So literally every landlord is experiencing an insurance increase this year. Some more than others, depending on where they are, but it's pretty much a given that your insurance is going to go up this year. So things like this really add to that burden. So you might not be thinking when you're investing, oh, what's the insurance going to cost? But this could be a major line item and a make or break in some states or some areas of some states. And so that's something that we've been trying to tell our landlords about, is to be careful with that. Prepare yourself for your renewals ahead of time. So if your insurance is going to be renewing soon, you should be meeting with a broker like yesterday, because you really need to come up with a strategy now to determine what you can do to mitigate some of those increases. So if you don't do anything about it, I mean, it's going to go up regardless, but you can at least maybe control how much it might go up by if you do certain things. So we're really, that's going to be a huge, I think we're really going to see the impact of it later this year. I don't think a lot of landlords know yet that it's coming.
I handle the insurance for my properties, and I just got a quote back for a hotel that we're buying. And the premium is almost exactly double what it was from the previous owner. I mean, so we got the pro forma from the previous owner, and the premium came back twice as much as what it was. So we are right in line. And that's how I'm going to have to explain to my partners. I'm going to say, listen, guys, it's on a rate per thousand basis. This is exactly as the other guy, but we're insuring twice as much now because of inflation, because of the renovations we're putting in.
Exactly.
That guy had it for $5 million. We're at $10 million, and the premium doubled. So don't shoot the messenger. That's just the way it is. Inflation is one of the biggest problems right now with these renewals that are coming in. But also, let's talk about the pets. I got two stories for you on the pets. I bought a property one time, and I hired a property management company whose background was in a particular niche of the government-regulated housing. It was rural development. So rural development it's the biggest scam going, but you have to use that type of property management company. So I had a rural development property. I liked the property manager, so I told him, come on in, work, and get to work. In the first 60 days, my occupancy was down to like 55%, up from like 90% down to 55. And I said, what are you doing? And then her answer was, oh, we're kicking out the riffraff. I'm like, wait a minute, what riffraff? What, why are you dropping? What are you doing? And they said, oh, we've cleaned it up, and we've no pets allowed. No pets allowed. And I'm like, when did you tell me you were going to make it a no pet property? Well, that's what none of our properties have pets, because none of the rural development properties allow pets. And so that gets into what you were saying when you come up with a federal law, because a lot of those FHA, USDA, all those types of lenders, they can impose those types of restrictions, and they do. So they came into my property thinking that, hey, we'll just do the same thing. But I'm a market rate property. And you want to know how I decide whether I want pets? What is my competitor across the street doing?
Exactly.
Is he allowing, and that's the problem. So we had breed restrictions, but you have to understand what your market's doing, or you're going to be out on an island. And you're going to lose.
I agree. I think there are more reasons to have pets than not. In most cases for rentals, I think now, especially with the pandemic, so many people got pets that didn't before. I mean, the
Mm.
number exploded. The number of pet owners is really in the majority in some areas. And so you're excluding a large part of the market by doing that. However, if you don't want to do that, right? If I am a landlord and maybe I just have a single family home that I'm renting out. I
Yeah.
don't want
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to make it I don't have to. Like, I could find one renter who
Right.
doesn't have a pet and I don't have to worry about that. So to say that that would apply to everyone, it just really takes the choice out of it. And I think just
Yeah.
naturally that will happen. Naturally, landlords are gravitating towards pet-friendly policies, but those who do not want pets for whatever reason, I feel like that should still be their choice. And certainly, if it's not their choice, I imagine that they may feel less inclined to maintain their properties to the standard or have maybe those nice wood floors or the nice, doors that are
Baseboard,
going to get scratched
baseboard
up.
bill. Yeah.
Yeah, like some of
Exactly.
these properties, they're not, if you're a landlord who accepts pets or you're an investor who accepts pets, you build that into the property. So you have
Yeah.
pet friendly materials, you know more or less what to expect with the security deposit, and just to eliminate that and not have a place that is meant for pets is also an issue, so I think there's a lot of thought that doesn't go into these pieces of legislation. They think about the general apartment buildings, but there's so many other kinds of rentals and people who are landlords that it might affect in a way that is just really going to be burdensome. So yeah, it's a little tough to see. And then on top of that, California cut their security deposit limit. Did you hear about that?
No, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That is another market-driven item.
it went from 2 months to 1 month now, regardless of whether
Oh,
you have pets or not, right? So 1 month security
wow.
deposit is not a lot. So you
No,
can
okay.
burn
Well,
through
okay.
that
Let me
pretty
just say,
quickly.
okay. I've never heard of somebody having 2 months security deposit. So when I'm from the New England area, I'm from Boston, and up in Boston, when you get an apartment, you pay first month, last month, and security deposit. That's what you pay. I mean, that's what the market is. And so when I started buying property in other parts of the country, and I thought, okay, I'm going to require first month, last month, and security deposit. They're like, what are you talking about? We can't get that. I said, okay, well, what do we get for security deposit? 1 month rent? They go, $200. That's like that's the market for security deposit. So to hear that California is doing 2 months, the reason why it was 2 months is because that's what the market allowed. And now the government's stepping in and saying, no, you can't do that. That's crazy. I'll tell you that we never, if a guy trashes the place, 1 month's rent is not enough to
Not
cover
at
that.
all. And
Not at
then
all.
what that will lead to is more court cases. So then what that means is if you don't have that money in the security deposit, well, you got to take the tenant to court if you want to maybe
Right.
get some of that retrieved. So that's not always, I don't think, the outcome they have in mind when they write that kind of law, that it will maybe increase the issue. But we've
And then
seen
when it becomes
security deposits. That's a topic that's been addressed now in multiple states. There are some states where I've talked to landlords, they don't even want to collect a security deposit because it's literally more liability and hassle than it's worth if they
yeah,
do it wrong. And
yeah.
that's
Well,
in states like Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia
yeah,
was a city.
yeah. Well, let me tell you what they
Illinois.
do. Let me tell you what they do. And I learned this one the hard way, and I want everybody to understand this. Those states that don't collect the security deposit, they get around it by calling it an administration fee. So it's
Yes.
the same price. So they call it an administration fee. So if you're just buying a property, here's where you get screwed. That administration fee shows up as income on your trailing 12 in your income statement, and so
Mm.
therefore it will inflate the value of the property, but you can never collect that money again. It's a one-time fee, and you never collect it again. And that now, if you don't deduct that out of the income when you're calculating your net operating income for the property, and then the thing is, you don't get that money, you overpay for the property, and when a tenant moves out, you got nothing. You got nothing in the form of
Dang.
security deposit, so
I
you get
hadn't thought
screwed
of
twice.
that situation.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so
I teach all
true.
my students. You got to watch for this. And so
Yeah.
when you look on a trailing 12, And under the income section, there'll be a category of other income, and there's a line item for administration fee. Whatever that administration fee is, don't include it in your calculation of the NOI, because that's what I call bad income. It's income that will never recur again. So why count it in there? Why overpay for the property because of that income? And one other thing before we go, I just got to say this. I one time was at a dinner party, and they talk about how my book was a little cutting edge. I was sitting there and they were all animal lovers, all dog lovers. And listen, my brother Lenny, you have to say hello to my brother Lenny. He's my number one listener, Alexandra.
Hi, Lenny.
All right, but Lenny, his daughter's a vet. He works when he's not in his lab. He's at the Wayside Waifs in Kansas City, Missouri. Helping to place animals. And so there I am sitting at this dinner, and I say to these people, I think emotional support dogs are the biggest scam going, and I love it. And the people are like, what? First off, they were about to jump down my throat because of my initial statement. But why do I love it? Because I was up in New Hampshire, way up in New Hampshire one day, beautiful summer day, and I'm at one of those Brookstone stores, and the doors are open, and I'm just looking around, and this dog walks right up to me. And I'm because I've been in Massachusetts for the last 20 years. I'm like, how dare they allow dogs to walk around freely? And I thought to myself, you know what? When I was a kid growing up here in New Hampshire, it was okay to bring dogs into stores. It was okay. There was nothing wrong with it. And all of a sudden, some government employee or government politician said, oh, we've got to stop these dogs. We've got to put restrictions on dogs, and they're not allowed in these places, and they're not allowed in that place. And then all of a sudden, some smart guy said, hey, wait a minute. Let me see. Okay. Don't allow those dogs. But my dog is special. He's an emotional support dog. You're right. You need to have that dog with you. And the guy's like laughing all the way to the bank. He's like, yeah, I do. So now they allow emotional support dogs, which aren't all animals emotional support. I mean, I love my daughter's dog. I love that dog. I get down and wrestle with that dog. That dog's giving me emotional support like every animal does. So that's my take on it. Listen, if you're a good dog owner and you take care of the dog, no one's got anything to worry about. That's my
Yeah, I agree completely. And I think really what's lacking here is any sort of oversight on what counts as a service animal versus an emotional support animal. It's very loose, especially the service animals, which service animals are allowed in public spaces, but they're supposed to be trained for a specific purpose, but there is no institution that licenses them. There's no certificate. So you're taking the owner's word for it that they've trained professionally the animal to do a specific task. And so, it's very hard to prove that. There is no one body that it's saying, yes, this is a service animal. This is legit. This is why they get these extra rights. And then the emotional support one, well, you could just get an online letter now that says that, hey, Joe Smith needs this for whatever emotion, issue they have. And so, really defeats the purpose. And it really, who really loses after all this is also the people who do have disabilities, right? Because if you did actually have a disability with a service animal that does help you, now everyone's looking at you like you're just taking advantage of the system. And so I really think they're the ones losing out on it. And it's very unfortunate. And, landlords really, even if they do a no pet policy, anyone can come in with a request and show a letter. And, there's a lot of times landlords' hands are going to be tied in that situation too. So, it's just, there needs to be a regulatory body, I think, that goes through who is or what is the process to make it official.
Oh, Alexandra, now you're starting to talk like a liberal. Another government agency to tell us what to do. Come on.
I think in this case, landlords will side with me that.
I say, you know what? I think
some regulations are good.
If you can get a doctor's note, if you can get a vet's note, then you're good. That's what I say. It's like if the vet determines this dog is a support animal, okay, all right, good. Yeah, that's and then I'd have everybody go into my
They don't have to be a vet. They don't even have to be a vet.
I know, you're right. You're right. So,
or
all right.
or a psychologist for that matter. Just a medical professional of any kind. So
you see, folks, we didn't get this deep into issues on our first go around, and now we're getting into this stuff. And we're gonna have
this is a good
Alexandra
one.
back on. Listen, I want you to come back on when you get the details about the
the event.
Let's
okay.
do that.
Hopefully soon. I'll let you know.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Her name is Alexandra Alvarado. She's a Costa Rican girl, but she's in Southern California girl, and she's working for AAOA.com. And folks, you've got to add this resource to your list because they really do great things, and I appreciate them very much. And I wonder who is going to jump on that 19 unit in Daytona Beach. That would be really cool. That's a great property, folks. So make sure you go out. Alexandra, thank you so much for being on the Multifamily Investing Academy podcast. You've been a joy. You've been a pleasure to have in class.
Thank you.
That's what my third grade teacher said one time. And I remind myself every day. So, yes. So, all right, kiddo, great to see you, and we will chat later.